All right. So it says the profit functions for two sellers in a market are modeled by the graph of F. So this is talking about profit here. Modeled by the graph of F. So this graph here models profit for one of the sellers, and then the other one, G of X, is right here. Compare and interpret the y-intercepts of the functions and their end behavior. So the y-intercept of this particular function, so f of x, so the y-intercept of f of x is the graph over there. What's the y-intercept? Where does this graph cross the y-axis? That's 0, yeah, right here. So is 0. And then we also need to figure out the y-intercept of g of x. And in order to do that, we need to multiply this out using FOIL. So let's just head down here. We'll say g of x is equal to x plus 1 times 5 minus x. And we'll get that FOILed out real quick. So first would be x times 5, which equals 5x. Outer is going to be x times negative x, so that'll be minus x squared. Inner will be 1 times 5, which is 5. And last is 1 times negative x, which will be minus 1x or minus x. And then we need to rearrange these into standard form. So bring the squared to the front, negative x squared. Combine the 5x and the minus 1x, so that'll be plus 4x. And then at the end, plus 5. So right here, that's our y-intercept. So the y-intercept of g of x is 5. So compare and interpret the y-intercepts. So let's just talk about this. We don't need to write everything down, but if we're talking about profit versus production or sales, right? Profit versus sales. Profit is y, sales is x. If the person selling that uses the function f of f sells nothing, how much money will they make? $0. Okay, which means they're also not going to lose anything, which is fine. If the person selling with the equation g of x sells nothing, how much do they make? $5, which doesn't seem to make sense. So chances are, at least for g of x, right around where x equals 0, it's not really valid information, but that's what we've got. And then compare and interpret the end behavior as well. So let's just talk about the end behavior really quick. So this one here has end behavior of down on the left, up on the right. So the weird thing here is it actually shows this seller for f of x loses money between selling nothing and selling 5. But if they don't sell anything, they earn 0. So it's going to cost them money to sell 5, but once they get to 5, they start to make a decent profit. And the end behavior here suggests a degree of what? Odd or even? Would this one be an odd degree or an even degree? Odd degree, yeah. They're doing opposite things. Would that be a positive or a negative lead coefficient? Yeah, that one's going to be positive. Positive lead coefficient, odd degree for this one. Because it's an odd degree, though, it comes up and then goes back down, and then it goes back up again. This one here is going to be a quadratic, and that quadratic would look something, it doesn't need to be exact, but it's going to look something like that. Probably not exactly like that. This is quite a bit different because this one suggests once the seller sells a certain amount of products, they're actually going to start losing money again, which is a little bit weird. This one here suggests that once they get past 5 sales, they're going to keep making money, which makes more sense than this one here. So in terms of production, maximizing profits, this one has a limited amount of sales in order to maximize profits. That's the vertex. This one does not have a limited amount of sales to maximize profit because the more you sell, the more you make. And that just keeps going and going and going. Here, the more you sell, you earn up to a maximum amount of money, but then if you keep selling, you start to lose a lot of money, which again, doesn't really make sense, but that's what the graphs suggest. All right. So this last part here, it says, find the quantity that maximizes the profit. Well, all we have to do is, let's just throw this into our graphing calculator and figure out the vertex, because that's all we're trying to figure out here. So the value of X for the vertex, then the quantity. So let's go to our Y equals menu. Let's practice a little bit more with our calculators here. So everybody get your calculators open. Fired up. So we're going to type in this function right here, or you could type in the original function. It would be the same thing on the graph. Doesn't really matter. All right. So we're going to start with, let's see, negative x squared plus 4x plus 5. And I'm going to change my window because I know my window is a little bit different. So here we go. Here comes the graph. And in that window, I can actually see where the vertex is. And so if we want to figure out where the vertex is, somebody remind me, what do we have to do? Second trace to get to the calculation menu. And are we calculating a minimum, a maximum, a value, and zero, and intersect? What are we doing? Maximum, yeah. Because we're looking for the vertex, which on this parabola is at the top. And then we're going to pick a point to the left of the vertex, and I'm going to get relatively close to it, and I'll just scroll to the right, and I'll say right there is fine. And then I'm going to go over the vertex on the way down, pick another point over here, hit enter, and then all out to guess. And right there it says, I think that's actually supposed to be 2 exactly. I don't know why there's some business going on with the 1.7 at the end there, but it should be the 0.29. So how many products do they need to sell to maximize profit? Profit would be 9. 2. They got to sell 2 things. So find the quantity. Quantity is 2. And that would be for a max profit of 9, which is not asking about the max profit of 9. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay, that is it for those notes.